I got my cash, I got my gold, I got my secret stock market investment. Why? Because the Fed just said they're gonna print quantitative easing infinity. So today we're gonna talk about what this means, how to prepare for it, and how to actually profit from this. This is not going to be the end of the world, but the elites are losing control, and there's things you can do to preserve and grow your wealth. Do you realize infinite money? I had to just get this out of the bank, and we'll talk a little bit about that because I don't trust those guys. In 2015 in Greece, there was a bank run and they shut the banks down. Do you realize infinite would mean what? And you'd have to just keep going, Where are they getting infinite money from? And how do you make money from it? This is Jake Ducey with JakeDucey.com. You are watching the I Love Prosperity Show, which is helping you to ensure your financial independence in a changing world. I don't have a business course or I don't have an investment course. I think most of these financial mainstream gurus don't know what they're talking about, and that's why I made this channel. So make sure you hit the like button on the side right over there, and let's dive right into this video. So let's start this off with a clip from 60 Minutes just this week with Mr. Cash Carry. Now, Mr. Cash Carry is the president of the Federal Reserve of Minneapolis, and here's what he has to say about the current state of the economy and how the Fed is prepared to help this market crash. And they talk about infinite amounts of this stuff. So let's play it.
Your ATM is safe, your banks are safe, there's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the banking system.
So the funniest part about that is the actual interviewer, when he says the word infinite, the interviewer's face goes, he's like, what the heck are you talking about? They do not have an answer. So they're gonna print an infinite amount of money. The problem with that is, now we're gonna play a clip by Alan Greenspan. He was the former chairman of the Fed. And here's what he had to say about if you resort to these types of tactics of printing an infinite amount of money and how it affects the purchasing power, the wealth, the income, and the savings of the entire population.
We don't have a system that's working. We have one that basically moves cash around, and we can guarantee cash benefits as far out and at whatever size you like, but we cannot guarantee their purchasing power.
Okay, now you can see why I needed to rush over to my bank and grab a little bit more of my money out. It was a big ordeal, and the reason it was a big ordeal is because they report you on a list if you take out a bunch of if you take out a lot of money. So there was this whole thing they have to fill out and send to the government about me, and now I'm probably on a list with terrorists and stuff like that because I've now taken out so much of my cash. Because in 2015 in Greece, there was the bank problems, and they froze the banks. Now, as you could tell from the Mr. Cash Carry guy, he's saying essentially they're prepared for this, so that's why he went on and said there's an infinite amount of money, that they're not going to lock the banks down. They'll just keep giving the banks made up money out of nowhere. But as the former Fed chairman Alan Greenspan said in the clip afterwards, they can do that, but what they can't guarantee is the purchasing power of that money, which is why I am not buying the dip. All these other millennial financial gurus are like, buy the dip, buy the dip. Those people know how to make money when the stock market is getting bubbled up. Now, that's not happening anymore because they're not able to actually stimulate confidence, even though they're putting all this money into circulation. This is why I buy gold right here. This is pure gold. Gold used to be money until 1971. Now, all the central banks and all the major countries all store gold, but they circulate fiat currency. Fiat currency is money backed by nothing, which gives them the ability to print an infinite amount of this. Oh no, I damaged that one. It gives them the opportunity to print an infinite amount of this stuff. This stuff They're just like, oh, come on, everyone, here you go, here you go. You know, there was the famous money helicopter. It's like, get to the chopper, here's infinite money. And the problem with that is that it really is a form of slavery that they've created. They give us fiat money back by nothing. They try to keep the system going by putting more of it into circulation. And that's what Robert Kiyosaki in Rich Dad Poor Dad says savers are losers. Savers are losers because they're killing the value of it. So now I want to share with you a little bit of how you can actually prepare and profit from this. This isn't things to think that the world is going to go to doomsday and we're going to live in bunkers in the ground with like squirrels and stuff like that. And that's not going to happen. The bankers are losing control, and we're about to go to what I believe will one day be an economic reset and a better system that helps everybody. So now I want to share with you how you can prepare. Okay, so I am not giving you financial advice because I'm not a certified financial planner. This is me sharing exactly what I've done as someone that became a college dropout at 19 and in my 20s became a millionaire, but never really believed that much in the mainstream financial system and how I prepared for it. So the first thing I did is I started buying this stuff. I don't want to open it because it's even worth more value if you don't even open it, but this is called a monster box of silver. So this is 500 ounces of silver, and I bought a lot of that. And this is 1 ounce of gold. So started with gold, physical gold, and physical silver. Now, historically, the name for gold is that it is a safe haven asset. But there are rare times in history where it actually becomes the best performing financial asset. This is when the confidence in the currency is lost. And when confidence in currency begins to be lost, this makes the things that are inversely correlated, the most negatively correlated, they go up. So ultimately, that will move eventually physical things up. Now, in this instance, we're talking about money, so the most inversely correlated is gold and silver. Now, what I did on top of that to play leverage with my gold and silver is I own the top gold and silver companies in the world in the stock market as well. So this is more risky. The most safe thing you can do is hold physical gold and silver. But then you get to more risky, and I'm very confident in the move of gold. So I want to own the companies that are actually producing and mining it and selling it to the market. So what I did is I looked at what are the most popular companies. So you've got to think about it like this, because pretty soon here, I think people are going to lose their confidence in all these things. You got to consider there's all these hedge funds with all this money. There's all these pensions with all this money. There's all these retirement accounts with all this money, and it's going to need to go somewhere. I think once we see gold pass its record high, which is getting pretty close to, I think there's going to be a swarm of money that goes into the mining sector, because these are really healthy companies that are producing huge cash flow on something that is for the foreseeable future going to be in a bull market, because we're just entering a currency crisis. The reason that this is significant is because the Roman Empire collapsed when it started debasing their currency. So when you debase your currency back in the olden days, you would take this gold and you'd clip off the corners, and then you would fill it with nickel or copper, and then they would keep the gold ends and they would melt it all down, and they would slowly start stealing the wealth back. That's what the governments did. Well, today instead, they have paper. So what happens with the paper is, as you print more and more of it, you turn currency into a commodity, and it becomes worth less and 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 less. So as that happens, gold being the most negatively correlated asset, that goes up. And that's what you've been seeing for the last few years. Central banks, Russia and China as well, Iran, all these types of countries, Turkey, they're all buying and getting a bunch of gold because they've been preparing for a loss of confidence in the United States dollar, which is the reserve currency of the world. Reserve currency meaning most of the countries are saving their excess in dollars. So they've started to buy. So I own the top companies. I own companies like Barrick Gold. I own companies like Newmont. I own companies like Franco-Nevada. So a mining company would be something like Barrick and Newmont. These are companies that actually mine it out of the gold. They're out of the ground. They're the largest companies in the world. Then there's companies like Franco-Nevada that own the gold in the ground, but they don't do the mining, so they don't have the liability of it, and they're called a royalty or streaming company. These are the companies that are going to be actually distributing what's going to be one of the most sought after places for money to go. So there's more risk because you're owning in a company, but there's a lot more reward because it moves at the multiple of the price of gold and silver. It moves exponentially higher. This is not investment advice, and I'm not telling you to do it, but this is what I'm personally doing. I'm not buying the dip to get back into tech stocks. I'm not buying the dip to buy airline companies. You got to understand, there's a lot of dust that needs to be settled because this whole economy has been based off of debt. All these companies doing stock buybacks have made all of this worse because instead of actually building cash reserves from the tax cuts they got from Trump and paying off debts, they've actually just used that money to take on more debt. To borrow more, to buy their stock backs more. They aren't prepared at all. So there is a lot more way for this to fall. And that's why the Fed is saying we have infinite money, because they know this can be so bad because they propped this whole market up based off of debt and cheap money, where interest rates are so low that money becomes worth less and less and less. It becomes worthless. And this is why I'm so high on gold, silver, and mining stocks. This is another, it's the same philosophy behind why people are really high on crypto and Bitcoin and those types of things. It's the same philosophy. They have a different opinion of where they think that the actual money will flow, and they think it's going to flow primarily into Bitcoin and digital money. I'm personally, just my personal opinion, I could be wrong. So far, I have not been. At least my bank account has showed me that. And so this is the time when the bankers are going to go down and the elitists are going to go down. And this is one of the opportunities for the greatest wealth transfer in human history. So I'm excited, and I'm keeping an eye on what the Fed does as they continue to print more and more money. Once the dust settles with all this virus stuff, I foresee myself having a great multiple in my wealth. And so, yes. Okay, I don't have an investment course or business course to sell you, and so if you want to support this channel, just please hit the like button right over there. It's going to send this out into the YouTube universe so more people see it. And please leave a comment down below. It will help the YouTube algorithm. I'm making this channel because I've been preparing for this for a while, because I've seen this huge equities bull run stock market bubble getting bigger and bigger as they printed more money. And then once they started doing the repo market, quantitative easing, and then they started to drop interest rates more. So I've been preparing for about, I don't know, maybe 18 months with the ways I've been moving my money. And now that it seems like it's coming to a head, I really wanted to make this channel just to share my perspective. This is not financial advice. Please do your own research. And make sure that you hit the like button and leave a comment down below. And yeah, I'm excited about all the shifts happening in the world. I do believe that ultimately this is going to be an awakening experience for humanity, where we take back our financial freedom, financial independence. We create a more equitable system for everybody, and we move away from having a currency that is killing the middle class, and having something that can actually preserve and hold its purchasing power over the years to come, 10, 20, 30 years down the road. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification right over there. Bell notification notifies you for new videos. Even if you're already subscribed, just double check. Have you actually hit the bell notification? I'm not sure, have you? So it's right over there on the side. Leave a comment down below of something that you learned from this video, and I will talk to you soon.